All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Spurs Live. Wow, it's been a while since we've been back. I mean, I've got Josh here with me, and I've got Matt here with me. How are we doing, fellas? How are we?
All
Good,
good.
good. Happy to be back
All
on.
good. Good. I'm sure we're happy after that win versus Brighton. Very tough game it was. They played extremely well. Now, guys, before we do start, I wanna give everyone a couple pointers to watch out for. Today is the last day you guys can enter the giveaway on Instagram. So if you have not yet entered the giveaway on Instagram, go over to Instagram, enter the giveaway. It's completely free. Just follow us, follow the collaborative person, and yeah, do all the bits and bobs, and you will be entered into the giveaway. Make sure to smash the subscribe button, and yeah, lads, talk to me. First half of football. Josh, what were your thoughts coming in? Obviously, by the way, guys, we do have a WhatsApp chat, and there's been two different kind of points of views on the first half of football. So let's get into Josh's first point of view in the first half of football.
Yeah, I mean, I really wasn't happy with the first half. It was really slow, sloppy, and it just feels like, I don't know if any of you have picked up on this, but it feels like if we don't score in the first like 10, 15 minutes, then we just lose control of the game a little bit. Like the
Yeah,
intensity is so high right at the start, and then it just sort of, if we don't score, we don't seem to be able to hold on to control of the game for the last like 20 minutes of the half or whatever. Um, but yesterday, I mean, Ange said it in his post-match press conference, and he that the hunger wasn't there. All the things that have made us great throughout parts of this season, especially early on the season, just weren't there in the first half again. And I can forgive it a little bit because it's the first time that everyone's been back, and our team has chopped and changed so much in the past few
yeah,
weeks, which I think you can that explains the poor performances a little bit, because it has been a bit poor over the past month. I'm sure both of you agree. Like it's not been the standard that was set early on in the season.
mm,
Just sloppy, Bentancur, really poor first half from him, and he sort of epitomised us in general as a team. I thought it's in possession, poor, slow, taking risks that weren't paying off. And in the final third, lack of clinicalness. I was talking to you, Josh, before the call about Kulu. That
yeah.
man, oh god, just shoot. It's really frustrating at times watching us because we just don't seem to want to shoot. Richarlison was the only one that did want to take a shot, and Maddison a couple of times. But a frustrating first half where I did still think we deserved to go in level. Like I thought we were a bit unlucky with some of the chances we created not to go in level at half time. But also I
Yeah.
couldn't put it past because Brighton were a much better team on the ball than us and sort of looked more like the home side than we did.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Matt, have you got? I heard a little bird told me that you got a little bit of a different point of view to this, to the first half of football. As you can hear from Josh, he's a bit more negative about the first half. He doesn't think that we were up to standards. What were your thoughts on the first half of football?
Um, it in all honesty, my opinion isn't Shadow. Sorry, my dog. In all honesty, my opinion isn't that dissimilar to Josh's. However, I feel that it was primarily. I feel our main issue was entering the final third. I thought our build-up play was actually okay. I thought moving from the back, yeah, we got caught in possession a couple of times, which I wasn't happy with. But in general, our build-up play was okay. But I felt that we just lacked any cutting edge. As soon as we got into the final third, like Josh said, like we weren't willing to take shots on. It's like Arsenal of old, trying to manufacture the perfect goal.
Yeah.
But then we then wouldn't get anywhere near the goal. We'd end up losing possession. We'd end up what have you. I thought some of our build-up play was okay, and in all honesty, I still think we were the better team.
Okay.
Like they had a couple of shots on goal, and then they had a penalty. And I think I saw something that said that after their penalty, they didn't have another single shot. They didn't have another shot on target. for the whole game.
I'm not sure if they did. I don't know if the.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe with the Matoma. I don't know. Was the Matoma chance not after the goal?
No, it was before the goal. That was
before the goal.
That was still at 0-0, I think.
Vicario kept us in that in the first half.
Right, if it was after the goal, then that's one shot on target.
Yeah.
But,
they had 3 shots on target.
Yeah, they had 3 shots on target. And does the penalty count as one of the shots on target?
It's got to do.
Yeah, so, in which case, Welbeck's chance in the first couple of minutes, Matoma's shot, and the penalty. That's it. That's all we created. So, we were the better side, and I think on balance, we deserved to win. The first half was just very frustrating. I think Josh said it yesterday, and I agree with him. Like, I think had Son started, that first half would have been a different game.
Different.
Yeah. You could tell as soon as he came on as well, by the way, like the quality that he possesses, not just in his finishing ability, but the overall quality when Sonny came on is excellent. Like his weight of pass, the way he moves with the ball, how he speeds up and slows the game down when he needs to. Like he is just a different. He's by far and away the best footballer we have at the club right now. I think.
Yeah.
Son is. He's probably the only player in the team that I say is world class.
Right now, I mean, Maddison hasn't been as good as he was before. I'd say before Maddison was done as his injury, I'd say he was performing at a world class level. But I get what you mean. I think Son is the one that his baseline is world class.
He was knocking on the door.
Yeah.
But Son. So for me, the definition of world class is someone who will get in any team in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair enough.
That to me is that for me the simple definition of world class is a player that he could go to Real Madrid, he could go to Barcelona, he could go to Manchester City, and he would get in those teams, right? And
I'm slightly going to disagree on that. Like,
you don't think he'd get in those teams?
You don't think he starts up front for Madrid right now over Hosselu?
No. No, sorry. I meant in terms of someone who goes straight into a team as class as a world class player, someone who can get into any team. Because if you think about it, look at Gundogan. Does Gundogan get into Real Madrid's midfielders? He is world class, but does he get in? Like, see, no, I respect your opinion there, Matt.
He plays. He does play for Madrid
or Barca.
Gundogan?
No, Barca. Yeah.
For Barca, yeah.
I do get what you mean though, Josh. World class gets thrown around a bit too much, I think, personally. And the word generational, I hate how often people use the word generational because it's lost its meaning completely.
Like in all honesty, the only generational players I think are Ronaldo and Messi.
I get what you mean, yeah.
I think they're the only.
Right, we're getting off topic.
Look, that's. Let's try to stay on topic here.
Yeah.
The first half of football, we can tell that. I mean, at least from your point of views, both of you, what we can tell and what the viewers can tell is that we weren't on track at all. We weren't playing well. There were a couple of good moments, as Josh mentioned, where Kulusevski should have had a shot here and there. But I want to now slightly move over to a couple of questions regarding that attacking lineup. Now, let's start off with Brennan Johnson quickly. Brennan Johnson, for me, I want to get everyone's opinion on Brennan Johnson. For me, Brennan Johnson is a player who is in his development part at Tottenham Hotspur. He's got time and he needs to develop as a player, and he shouldn't be starting at every single match. I think Kulusevski is more of a complete player than Brennan Johnson. I feel like Brennan Johnson's pace can be utilised coming off the bench. Now, Matt, what do you think needs to be the answer for Brennan Johnson? Should he be starting in the front three, let's call it? Or would you bench Brennan Johnson and bring him on at like the 70th minute, 65th minute?
No, Shadow. I think Brennan Johnson is... Look, he's a young player who's developing. And I've in social media and stuff, I've seen a lot of hatred towards him. And I hate that. Right? He's a young player who's joined a new team. It's a new system. Right? Don't get me wrong, if he hasn't improved in 2 or 3 years, then I'll start asking questions. But
Yeah.
as of now, if he improves a little bit each season, in 2-3 years' time, we're gonna have a real good player. For me, the biggest issue with Brennan Johnson at the moment, it is probably his. Sorry, 1 second. It's probably. I imagine it's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
And the issue there is, look, he's one of the fastest players in the league.
Okay.
And we're crying out for a winger with pace. He is a winger with pace, right? But we need a more direct player. And I just don't think he does it at the moment. We need a player who's direct, who's willing to take his man on constantly, right? I watched Jeremy Doku for City yesterday. And the number of times he took on I can't remember the name.
Who was it there? Right back.
Yeah.
City played Everton.
Everton right back.
It would have been Coleman that played.
No, it wasn't Coleman.
I'll quickly check it out.
So there's Mikalenko, Branthwaite, Tarkowski.
I want to say Benjamin or something.
It was Godfrey.
Godfrey, that's it. Godfrey, Benjamin, tomato. I knew it was like an old school name. I'm like, Benjamin. No, Godfrey. Okay. But he took him on so many times. So many times. And he was direct. And that's what I want to see from Brennan Johnson. And he just doesn't do it enough. And I don't know if it's like a confidence thing.
So would you bench him or start him then, if that's what you want your right winger to do?
Well, in all honesty, I would bench him, and then I would bring him on for the last 20 minutes of the game when the left backs getting a bit leggy, and you just say, right, last 20 minutes, I want you to go on and have a go at him. I want you to run at him. Like you want him coming on last 20 minutes of the game, impact player, pacey, right? And also, like, the depth in Man City's team is ridiculous, right? They are constantly rotating players because they can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the opposition, right, you're in the 80th minute, you're 1-0 down, right? 80th minute, 1-0 down. And what? You see £100 million player in Jack Grealish come off the bench? Like,
right.
do you know what I mean? As an opposing team, you don't want to see that, right? And that scares you. And I would love for Brennan Johnson to become that player. So, like, we take him off the bench and oppositions are scared, right? We're winning 1-0. And then Brennan Johnson comes on and the opposition are like, oh, for God's sake, we're already losing 1-0. And now we've got to deal with Brennan Johnson coming on and running rings around us.
So you think in general that for Brennan Johnson to start, he needs to basically improve himself, and for your own sake, you enjoy a winger who takes on a man like Jeremy Doku, and you feel like Brennan Johnson's more able to do it off the bench. And I kind of agree with you there. I personally would also bring him off the bench and not start him. I think Kulusevski is more effective starting him. But Josh, would you start Brennan Johnson, or would you start Dejan Kulusevski? And what do you think the other person has who you're starting ahead of the other one?
Well, I would also bench Brennan Johnson right now, but I would say though that he has become a bit of a scapegoat. And I think on this panel that we've got on now, I think we're actually pretty fair with Brennan Johnson compared to how the rest of social media are. And we look at it for what it is. And we didn't buy a finished product. We bought potential. And he actually hasn't been nearly as bad as some people make out, by the way.
He's what, 22?
he's still a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah, super young. Yeah, I think 22.
And his stats are good. Like, I know people go, yeah, but look, watch him play football. The stats don't matter. Look at him.
And he's had what, 4 goals and 4 assists?
I think it might be 5 goals now. After yesterday, it was 4 before. I think it might have been 5 from yesterday.
And Sonny got 3 goals, 4 assists.
Yeah,
right. But that's fine.
So is that 4 now, or was yesterday his 3rd?
Yesterday was his 3rd goal.
Okay,
he scored against Wolves. He scored then, and yeah.
So,
but as far as I'm concerned, though, Brennan Johnson, he does add something. When he came on, we looked better because he was a bit more direct than Kulu was yesterday. Kulu didn't have his greatest game yesterday, but Johnson was direct. My biggest problem with Brennan Johnson is his crossing. I think he wastes a lot of chances because the quality of his crosses is quite poor at the minute.
He's basically early days Aaron Lemon. Lemon.
But at the same time, though, he's already getting better. Ange said it yesterday. That goal the winner that he gets, it's not a mistake. He said that's something because Johnson wasn't in that position when he first came into Spurs. Like, he wouldn't have thought to make that run to the back post. That's something that he said that they've drilled into him and they've worked on. So he's already scoring a goal that he wouldn't have scored when he first joined the club.
Yeah.
So you've got to give him time, and we can't keep I really hope social media doesn't keep battering Johnson, because he said in his post-match interview when that ball's rolling across the box to him, he was nervous, and he shouldn't be. He was so nervous rolling across the box because we've shot his confidence into the ground on social media, and he's just a kid. Like, we can't keep battering him because there is a player there, and he is contributing, and it's not his fault that over the past few weeks we haven't been able to sub him off and he's had to play every game because we have no one else to look to. Like, it is not his fault that he's had to play way more minutes than probably Ange would have liked to have given him, and more than he's probably ready for right now. So just be a bit more patient with him and give him some time. He's getting better. He's contributing, maybe not to the level that we want in our final product, but he is contributing. And clearly, Ange wants a different type of profile on that wing, because we've seen the list with Pedro Neto. Who was it? Pedro Neto's in the list, and there's one other winger in there as well.
Who was his name? From Saudi Arabia. What's his name? Jota.
Well, Jota was in the list before, but then there's the new one, isn't there? With Pedro Neto's in it, and Paul O'Keefe. I can't remember which winger it was. But he cited that we were after another winger who's a bit. It's in the category of high dribbles. Rafinha. There you go. That's it. Rafinha and Pedro Neto are the two that we know are in our list for the summer. Very, very dribbly wingers, as I call it. Very direct. Very different profile.
I would like Matoma.
So would I, but I don't think there's a chance that we can get him in for the price that we're willing to pay. I think we could get Neto for cheaper, probably, than we could get Matoma for right now, considering he signed a new contract. But that's the profile Ange is after, and that's just not who Johnson is right now. But I do like the idea of having different types of profiles at the club.
No, look, I'm saying it sounds like we all want to bench Johnson. And look, but quickly, I just want to say my point on reason why I'm starting Kulu is because, and I've said this multiple times, and I'm sorry if I'm chewing your ear off, but I think I think Kulusevski is the best player at Tottenham Hotspur in terms of holding up the ball. Like, Richie does it, but not as well as Kulu does. Kulu holds up the play so well. Yes, there's other parts of Kulu's play that aren't great, but his hold-up play is very, very vital for us.
So underrated. Now, his ball progressions and ball carrying, so underrated.
It's very underrated. Now, the question is now, I want to go, Matt, do you think the front three, we are so outplayed, are so versatile in that front three? Quickly, Werner can go left, right striker. Johnson can go left, right striker. Kulu can go right cam, maybe a striker. Sonny can go striker, left wing. So Matt, what would be your ideal front three if you know everyone was fit and everyone's ready? Obviously, you do have the wonder kid, the absolute unbelievable Manor Solomon, but obviously, you know, it's only if you really want to put him in. But who would be your front three?
So Israeli.
Who'd be your front three?
See, start of the season, especially after Richie's last season.
Yeah,
I wanted to play Son through the middle. because I think he's brilliant, and I think he can easily be. I think he can easily be our number 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Richie's come into some strong form.
Mm.
So now I'm thinking, all right, we keep Richie in the middle, because the other thing as well is Richie previously was playing on the left, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And you weren't like he's a workhorse, and he'd put the effort in. He'd run the yards. He'd do what he needed to do, but we weren't seeing the best of him. But obviously, Son's gone off to the Asian Cup, so Richie's then playing through the middle, and suddenly we've suddenly seen the best of him again. So I think at the moment I'd probably go Son, Richie, Kulu.
Son, Richie, Kulu. I'm not going to give away mine yet, but I like it. Josh, what would be your front three if
No, I do
everyone's
agree.
fit?
I think you can't really drop Richie right now, just because I think putting the alternative is Son Werner Kulu is really good as well. I'm actually fine with either Son Werner Kulu, because I thought Werner was really good yesterday, and I think he's been good since he signed actually.
Yeah.
But I think Richie's like overall play, his hold up play and his link up play wasn't great yesterday. I thought he actually was pretty cool.
So who are we talking about? Who do you say? Werner?
Richie.
Oh,
No,
Richie,
Richie, right.
okay.
In terms of Richie's overall link up play, I was pretty disappointed with him yesterday, but that's by his own standards that he's set. I think overall this season he's actually improved his hold up play and his link up play massively since he came back from the injury. I think he warrants a starting place because of that. And Son's proved that he's still got it on the wing. Son yesterday, he proved that he still has got it. But I do think his best position is probably as a striker for us nowadays, Son. But clearly, and with all the links to a winger, Ange is wanting to push Son through the middle and get a new winger in on that left-hand side, I think. Personally, 100%. I think that's what I see happening.
So both of you guys are going for a Son, Richie, and Kulu. And I mean, I'm not going to be different. I'm going to go the exact same thing. I think in that front three, you've got everything. But the very, very more interesting, the more interesting department of the team is I quickly want to go on that midfield area. You've got Bissouma who's back. You've got Pape who's back. Maddison is back. It's looking like a full Tottenham team is back. Side note: when Ange made those 3 substitutions, it was Johnson, Sonny, and Sarr. That was arguably our best team out there. Like that's arguably our best team out there. Now, who would you guys start in your front in your midfield 3? Because I'm retracting my what I said earlier this year with regards to my midfield 3. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start because I don't want anyone to take my option. I don't want to be the one who's copying everyone. And I'm gonna go with a DM. I'm gonna go with a DM. And I think it doesn't matter who plays DM, if it's Bissouma or if it's Bentancur, essentially. I'm starting with a DM and Madders and Pape. I think Madders speaks for himself. He has to be in a team. Pape just brings in this energy that I just don't feel like any other midfielder really brings in. He's got those lanky long legs of him that just puts in to defend tackles. But most importantly,
it was a really good finish yesterday.
An unbelievable finish because he was on a very tight angle as well. And most important, that CDM has to be involved, because I said earlier this season that I believe that the 2 centre backs, Van de Ven and Romero, don't need a CDM because they're so solid together. I'm starting to think that the way we play Ange ball relies on a CDM fixing up some stuff when the 2 wing backs go forward. But Josh, let's start with you. What is your 3 midfielders? I'm personally going with Madders, Pape, and Bentancur. Let's go Bentancur. Who are you going with?
I mean, that's my 3 as well. But it's what I like, though, is that we seem to be building a midfield of profiles where we can change it depending on the opponent, which is so nice. Like it's so good that we can bring in someone like because Lolo had a stinker yesterday. Let's be honest, Bento had an absolute stinker in the first half, constantly losing the ball. It just wasn't working for him. And then the luxury to bring on a player like Bissouma, who's one of the most press-resistant midfielders in the league, and just relieve so much pressure that Brighton were putting on us throughout parts of that second half. But as you know, I'm not going to be reactionary and go, "Oh, I'd rather have Bissouma than Bentancur," because it's just not true. Bentancur is one of the best midfielders in the league last year, and he deserves his starting spot. He's come back from his injury way better than we all thought he would, and one performance doesn't define him, obviously. And you can't drop Sarr. I just think right now, you can't drop Sarr. I'd be there. I'm willing to hear Bissouma, Bentancur, Maddison shouts. Yeah. I'm willing to hear it. But right now, Sarr is just he's the engine in the team right now. He covers so much distance, and especially when we're so open at times in the system we play on the counter attack, I think he's invaluable. And he deserves his goal yesterday.
Quick side question to you. Where would you place him in the most important Tottenham players?
Because
we had this debate with our mates the other day, and people put him very high up, people put him very low. So I'm just interested to hear both of your thoughts. Where would you put Pape in terms of most important players? Because you got Vic, you got Madders, you got Sonny.
Yeah, I mean it depends on how you look at it, because he's so important when he plays.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the most when he plays, but he's one of the most replaceable, if you get what I mean. It's in terms of Bentancur can do his job, whereas you look across the rest of the positions, no one can really do Sonny's job. Yep. No one can do Mickey or Romero's jobs in centre half, not to their standard anyway. And if you took someone like Porro or Udogie out, we don't have someone that can do their job as well as they can. Whereas I think Bentancur can do Sarr's job as well as he can.
Yeah.
Or very close to it in that centre mid role. So, and Lo Celso brings something different, but he also can do a job into that centre mid role. So I'd say he's extremely important when he plays, but he's also one of the more replaceable players in our system.
Fair enough. Well, now Matt, before we go on to you, make sure everyone to subscribe to Spurs Live. We're trying to hit a milestone. I don't really know what yet, but we're trying to hit a milestone. 2K coming soon. So Matt, what is your midfield three? Are you going with a CDM, or are you going with the clean central midfielders and a cam?
I think Bissouma is probably our most complete CDM.
Okay.
I Shadow, stop it. I love Bentancur.
Yeah.
I do love Bentancur. But actually, I love the energy and freshness that having two young players in Bissouma and Sarr brings to our team.
Yeah.
They complement each other really well. I don't know if you guys know, when Sarr and Bissouma play together, there's just a synergy between them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as much as it's bizarre, especially after last season, he hasn't quite hit the heights this season he hit last season. But bizarrely, I would actually bench Bentancur and I'd play Bissouma, Sarr, and Maddison. I play Bissouma, Sarr, and Maddison because I think Bissouma and Sarr they just play well together. They work well together. They're good. But also, if you have a player of Bentancur's quality on the bench, that puts us in the realms of Man City. When later in the game, you can bring someone like Bentancur off the bench.
Who does start for most Premier League sides.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can bring someone like Bentancur off the bench. And again, for the opposition team, I think they're going to be a lot less happy about seeing Bentancur join the field than Oliver Skip.
Mm-hmm.
So, it gives us great depth.
Well, that was the difference yesterday, wasn't it? It was the depth off the bench. Because basically we played the same game yesterday that we've played for the last couple games where we've drawn. But the difference was, instead of bringing on Hill and Skip, we brought on Sonny, Biss and Johnson.
Yeah. And we brought on Højbjerg and Davies.
I think also a big difference, and it sounds very, oh yeah, obviously we did that, but the main difference is we actually killed the game. Like, I know it's obvious we killed, but you know, there's been multiple times this season where it'd be 1-0 to us, and then out of nowhere, the opposition would score a goal and maybe two, instead of us going to, you know, kill the game off. Ange, Mourinho. I don't know if Conte said it, but I remember Mourinho and now Ange are saying Tottenham need to kill the game off, and we're just not killing the game off. I feel like now with the addition of Son back, I think we're going to now be much more clinical in front of goal and be more of a threat. Now, lads, let's go over to some player ratings. Now, I want to get everyone's thoughts on the... Oh, wait. Very, very quickly, we do have a couple comments. So, Bensi Horowitz, big up to yourself. Richie right now has to start based on form. Yeah, we all agree on you. We all agree with you. Richie definitely has to start. And Sheldon, 1882, half our boys are still finding their fitness after such a long time out too. Yep, exactly. And imagine how well they'll be on once they're back to full fitness. Yeah. Quickly, I do remember what I want to say. Josh, you mentioned it a second ago. We played the same lineup, like that we've been playing for the past, 3-4 games, and we've been losing. But like you said, we brought on Son, we brought on Pape, we brought on players that can make a difference. Unlike other games where we, bring on, like Matt said, Skippy, Bryan Gil, who, with all due respect them, they don't have much of an impact as like Sonny has. Let's do some play ratings now very quickly. Vicario. Josh, I'll start with you until Matt's back. Where you what give me a couple sentences on Vic and your rating.
That's a weird one from Vicario yesterday because his saves kept us in the game. His shot stopping was excellent as per usual. But he had a pretty poor game with his feet. And he put himself in trouble a couple of times. A couple of the saves he made were because there was one we rolled it out to Maddison, I think, just outside our own box, and we lost it, which he did against Arsenal as well. Just a poor... The thing is with Vicario, he constantly wants to get it moving, which is great at times, but sometimes he puts his players under unnecessary pressure. And he did that a couple of times yesterday. It wasn't great with his feet. And he didn't get too troubled in the air, but you can see teams are targeting him in the air. So, especially on set pieces, which is how we've sort of collapsed in the past couple of games. Not awful.
I like Maddison's role yesterday. So, did you notice at corners, Maddison was getting between... Yeah. And that's obviously something that we were crying out for because we weren't doing it. And they've now made that adjustment after conceding 2 goals in 2 consecutive games from Vicario losing out to the player on top of him.
Yeah. But I thought up and down game for him yesterday. He put himself in trouble a couple of times, but he did save us a couple of times. So I'll go 6 for Vicario overall.
Okay.
Not his best performance with his feet, but good shot stopping.
Sorry. Before you say Matt, one quick thing. I won't be doing these play ratings. I'll be listening to the boys because they had the complete full analysis on the game. So I'm gonna get their thoughts on it. So Matt, sorry, what were you saying regarding Vicario? What's your rating for Vicario on today? Josh has given us a 6.
I'd have gone 7. So okay. I'm willing to meet in the middle and go 6.5.
Okay. No, 6. Moving on.
Wait, Matt, give us a little explanation. Why are you giving Vic a 6?
Yes, there are a couple of times when playing out didn't quite work. I agree. But in general, I thought he commanded the game well. The ball went back to him quite a few times. His distribution in general was very good. He only had to make 2 saves, but he did them very well. Like, the goal he conceded was a penalty, and the reality is a goalkeeper's never going to get blamed for a penalty, are they?
Right.
So, Mitoma, great reaction save. Welbeck, it's a save you'd expect him to make, but it was still a good one. And he not only made the save, he made sure he pushed the ball nice and wide as well.
Fair enough.
I know.
Well, let's move on to the right back position. Josh, what are you saying for right back? Pedro Porro. And a big thing to say. I'm sorry, I can't believe I forgot to say this. Why was Porro still on the pitch? I mean, he was limping for about 15 minutes on that right foot of his. I'm screaming to the TV, why is Ange not subbing him out? And when he made the sub of Ben Davies, I was like, finally, he's going to take Porro out. But it's Zudogi. What were your thoughts? And what's your play rating for Pedro Porro?
I didn't even notice the limping. I think I was.
How could you not? He was clearly in discomfort.
Yeah.
Well, I was half watching in the second half. I was watching, but I was also at a family thing, so I didn't. There was bits that I just didn't really notice.
Having said that, he seemed to have run it off by the end of the game.
Yeah, he looks fine.
Yeah.
He's
wait until Ange's next press conference. Wait until Ange's next press conference. He'll be like, "Yeah, Porro sprained his ankle, and it's because he didn't sub him off." Honestly, I don't know. I was really upset. But
I thought he had a decent game yesterday. Nothing to rave about. Nice run from him for the first goal to open the space up for Sarr. Which was a good contribution. I think he was okay with Matoma. He got beat a couple times, but he was generally fine. Again, I'd say probably a 6. But
fair enough.
It was an average Porro performance. It was fine.
It makes sense what you're saying because the performance itself and the whole team was basically
pretty average performance. Yeah.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough. I mean, look, until Matt's back, I'm just going to quickly give my opinion on the second half. I'm going to give him as well like a 6.56, I'll stick with a 6 for Josh because defensively, I mean, it was just, I don't know, it was bang average. Also, didn't put too many accurate crosses to Richie like he usually does. So I'm just going to give him a 6. Matt, what are you saying for Pedro Porro? Josh and I have given him a 6.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, makes sense. It's just bang average. Fair enough. Everyone thinks he's bang average. Let's go left back now. I don't want to do any substitutions except for a couple crucial ones. Desnu Dogi. Matt, what are you saying for Desnu Dogi? Who is what's your play rating for him?
7.
Okay.
I think he was more influential than Porro going forwards.
Fair enough.
I think 6 for Porro's fine, but if we're giving Porro a 6, I think we should give Udogie a 7.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. 7 or 6.5. I wouldn't say there's loads to separate them. I thought Udogie was just that a little bit better on both ends, going back and forth, to be honest. But
yeah. Fair enough. So it's looking like it's going to be a 6 and 7. Let's go for Romero. Josh, what are you saying for Romero?
Again, he didn't have loads to do. He didn't do a lot wrong. I didn't think, and he was fine on the ball. Again,
I think 7.
Yeah, I'm going to sound again, 6.5, 7 for me. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but like you said, Josh, it was a bang average, pretty flat performance, and I think most of the players were quite average on the day, barring the next centre back we're about to talk about. Because
in all honesty, defensively, I don't like. After the opening 20 minutes, we didn't really have anything to do defensively. After the opening 20 minutes, they didn't really offer anything.
I think after we scored, they really put on us a lot. They attacked us in multiple ways, but we'll get on to that.
They should have scored with that sort of cutback that flashed across the goal. That really should have gone in.
Yeah.
Oh, Ansu Fati.
Yeah.
Talk about him. Mickey van der Ven. Now, I'm going to go based on what I saw, what I personally saw. And if we're giving Romero a bang average 6-7, then we're going to have to give Mickey van der Ven like a 5.5.
I wasn't even going to give him that. I was going to give him a 5 or a 4.5. To be honest, I was really disappointed with his first half. Obviously, gave away the penalty, but he lost the ball on the halfway line a couple times. He redeemed himself a bit with that block towards the end of the game
when he got it in his thingies.
Yeah. So he redeemed himself a little bit there, but it was a pretty poor performance from Van de Ven yesterday. I thought probably his worst in a Spurs shirt this season. I'd probably say. By his very high standards, obviously, but he just wasn't on it yesterday. But he's probably due a bit of a bang average to poor performance, to be honest, considering his form this season.
Matt, what are you saying for Mickey Van de Ven? I gave him a 5.5, just because I didn't watch the first half. But Josh says 4.5. Are you gonna make it nice to say 5 or not?
I don't think he was as bad as you were making out. I actually thought his progressive passing was actually quite good yesterday.
Okay.
I just think defensively he was really poor in that first half.
In all honesty, I don't think he was poor. If that had been Harry Maguire, we'd have been saying he had an all right game. In all honesty, I think you're judging it not by general standards. You're judging it by his standards.
But that's what all I can do. And he was poor by his own standards yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. If he was another Premier League centre back, right? If he was another Premier League centre back, then I think we'd be going, it was an all right game. It wasn't amazing, but it was all right. And it's only because Van de Ven himself has set such a high standard that we're then criticising him.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
So what are you giving him? What's your play rating for him then?
6.
Fair enough.
I think
Okay.
that's generous. I think that's really generous.
Well, we're gonna move on now to the midfielders.
I just don't think he's as bad as you're making out. It's just quite simply the fact that he isn't as good as he normally is. But
no, and that's fine. And like I said, he's probably due a bad one. But I just think yesterday in that first half, he cost us.
Who's the Luton Town centre back?
What, Tom Lockyer?
Yeah, if that was Tom Lockyer, we'd literally be like, yeah, decent game.
I don't think we would be. I disagree.
Yeah,
I mean,
really based on what I saw, I don't think so. It's a hard one to take because that's the problem with doing play ratings. People have different ways of rating a player. For example, the way I look at it is I look at it at the game. I don't look at the standards that he's setting himself. I'm looking at the game. The game itself, in my opinion, it was a 5.5. Just a quick idea. I quickly had a look at my phone at half time just to have a look at just ratings, and I saw that One Football gave him a 2. So
yeah, Ali Gold gave him a 4 on Football London, and I think he's generally pretty generous. So.
He wasn't great. But look, lads, let's move on to the midfielders. Let's go with Bissouma. And a quick word from me on Bissouma. I thought it was nice to see him back. I mean, it's going to take him, I think, a bit time to get involved in a whole interplay with Tottenham again. That's my opinion, personal opinion. But what are your thoughts on Bissouma, lads? Anyone?
I mean, how many minutes did he play? Was it 20? If that?
20?
15.
Bissouma didn't start, mate. It was Bentancur that started.
Oh, sorry. I thought Bissouma started. Sorry. Let's start with Bentancur.
It was Bentancur.
You're right, because Bissouma came on with Son. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Let's go start with Bentancur. What's your play rating for Bentancur?
5.
4 or 5. Really poor. Really poor. It's the first time that he played his normal game, but it just wasn't paying off yesterday. The Brighton press was really intense, and
He was off
the
his pace.
decision making was poor. You know, every time he tried to get out of situations, it wasn't happening. And when he did get out, it was more of a. I'm sure Matt might have it different. He might agree, but a lot of the times when he did manage to get out from the press, it was just bouncing back off his leg. It wasn't very clean. It was messy. His standard passing wasn't. It was just very average. I wasn't particularly impressed, and clearly neither was Ange because he took him off.
I think I'd happily agree with a 4. I thought he was unfortunately very disappointing yesterday.
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
you see Biss at half-time gave him a team talk, didn't he? You saw them in the tunnel and he was sort of giving a pep talk. So clearly Bentancur even knew himself that he just wasn't up to his own standards yesterday.
And it's and you know what? It's going to take him time until he's back up to his standards. And what he needs, and I'm happy, is he needs competition, because for all he knows, he's in the starting 11. But now that Pape's back, now that Maddison is back, now Biss is back, he's got to now actually compete. Let's go over to Maddison. Why are we saying Maddison?
So I'm going to make this really, really easy for you.
Yeah.
Every single player left, apart from Sarr, is a 6.
You agree?
And Sarr's a 7.
I don't quite agree, but he's not far off, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, because everyone had a bang average game, yeah.
I think every other player was okay.
I thought Maddison. Yeah, I agree. Maddison was probably a 6 for me. Some of his passing was decent, especially those outside of the foot passes. They're just magnificent to watch. But he didn't really have as much of an impact on the game.
There was one for. I think it was
Richarlison. It was through to Richie who put Son through for the goal. So he was involved in the goal. But I thought his set pieces were pretty poor yesterday, actually, and a bit wasteful.
I think every player from midfield up, I think every player was bang average.
Let me quickly read out the players you're saying was 6. So Maddison, Timo Werner, Dejan Kulusevski, and Richarlison. I'm going to disagree on Dejan Kulusevski. I think he was a bit less than a 6 yesterday. I don't think it was an average performance.
Maybe a 5.
I'd probably go 5 for Kulu, just because, like I said, he had a few chances to take some shots. He didn't. In my opinion, one too many passes at times, slowed the game down a little bit at times.
The shot that he did take, he probably could have gone down and got a penalty.
Agreed. Yeah, if he doesn't take the shot, I do think I say we get a penalty. We've only had one, so he probably wouldn't get a penalty.
So lads.
Yeah, Werner, I disagree as well. I'd give it a 7.
This season, Arsenal have had 6 penalties, and we've had 1 all season.
That's different.
Brighton have had more penalties against us this season than we've had in general.
Look, lads, let's just say everyone gets a 6, but Dejan Kulusevski gets a 4.5. I think that's fair enough. Now, very quickly, just before we end the live stream, make sure everyone to smash that subscribe button. Matt, I'm going to come with you first for this question. Going into the next game, Tottenham obviously need to improve. They're playing Wolves away.
No, home.
Check out. No, it's home again. We've got 2 home games.
We've got 2 home games on the
home again. Yep. So, what do you want to see improved from the Tottenham Hotspur point of view?
I want to see our midfield boss the game.
Is that possible? Is that possible against Wolves?
Yes,
100%.
Okay.
100%. Like, at the end of the day, we've got quality. We've got enough quality that we can hold the ball, we can keep it, we can progress it, right?
Yeah.
And I think in some recent games, our midfield has gone a little bit missing. Like we said, Bentancur was disappointing yesterday. And we did look better once Bissouma came on. So I'd like to see our midfield boss the game. I'd like Sonny to start and just see his attacking threat that he has.
Yeah.
Defensively, I don't think there's much to change. Obviously, I'd like to see the players hitting the heights that they have hit this season. rather than dropping off.
Yeah.
Especially going into the end of the season. Like, you see it with Man City every year. I don't know what it is, but they are bang average up until Christmas. And then as soon as they turn the new year, they just turn it on and then just win every single game. And that's how they win the league. That's how they win the league.
Well, the great thing about City, which isn't actually the best to watch City at times, but you do know once they're 1 or 2-0 up, it is game over because they have such good control of a game.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something I'd like to see from Tottenham. Controlling the ball, controlling the tempo. And I do feel that the midfield is the key to that.
Yeah.
The midfield is the key to our ability to do that. We might have fast forwards who can cause some trouble. We might have good defenders who are quick and can intercept it and do everything. But if you do not control that midfield, that's what causes you problems.
It's retention, isn't it? We've been giving the ball away way too frequently in midfield. We've been turning it over so much recently. And yesterday was a prime example. We turned the ball over in midfield way too. All of Brighton's chances
came from the midfield.
I feel like there's been a bit of a false narrative about the game yesterday because everyone's saying, oh, Spurs were really lucky. Spurs were really lucky. Actually, both teams caused their own problems. I thought equally, both teams, all the chances in the game came from mistakes rather than actual either team really carving anything out. It was mistakes from both sides and turnovers.
I disagree. Our 2 goals were made by our inventiveness.
Yeah, especially that last goal. That's
the general play of the game. It was just constant turnover.
No. I like the chances that didn't go in. I agree, but I actually think that our 2 goals were very well manufactured.
They were well worked, but like I said, they're just the overall flow of the game.
Our 2 goals didn't come from mistakes, but Richie had chances. Werner, there were a lot of opportunities created by us creating our own problems. Look, Brighton fans are going to be salty. They're always going to be salty after that game last year. Right?
Yeah. They must hate our stadium. They must absolutely despise it.
Well, I don't know. They got a penalty this year.
I'd like to see one of
those. But no, ever since last year, they're always going to be salty. Sorry,
Matt. I use things basically. You want our midfield to look much more stronger against Wolves and to go in there and actually maintain have the ball and keep possession, make good enough passes, and not just give away the ball to the attackers. Which, in a way, I kind of also agree. I just want to add on to that as well. Is that I said from the beginning of the season as well, Ange Postecoglou is also if the midfielders need to win their 1v1 duels. If the aerial duels coming in, they need to win it. They need to beat their man, and they did it. Sure, they actually did beat their man yesterday, but then they passed it back to him, which I didn't understand at all what was going on. Josh, give me a couple of points that you want to see Tottenham improve going into Wolves tomorrow. Next game.
First half is the thing I want to see the most improvement in general. I want to see a lot more energy in the first half. I want a better quality of press, and I want a better quality of general play. I just think we give away the ball too much.
I think we've had good first half this season.
We have, but I mean, recently I've been really disappointed with our first half. So I don't think it's been good enough.
I agree, and I'd like to see us get back to where we were beginning of the season when we were.
Well, we've got that team back now. We've got the players that got us there now. But Maddison said it best yesterday. I just want to see a comfortable 3-0. I just want to see us get an early goal, push on, get that second, and be comfortable throughout the game.
Honestly, I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, this is a good team. Now, it's the same with Man City. Now, they ground out a result against Everton. They didn't have a shot on target until they scored the goal. They got the 2-0 win. But the point was that was a bit of a struggle. But then next week, they'll probably go and beat someone 4-0. And
in short, I'd like a statement, is the best way I can say it. I'd like a statement win.
100. And that's literally, if we're grinding out 1-0 victories, I don't mind grinding out 1-0 victories, but just one of the games, I want us to win 3-4-0.
Yeah.
I want there to be one. I'm not going to lie. I'd quite like to go into the last 10 minutes of a game relaxed.
Yeah, which I haven't been relaxed for the past 2 months because we've just been on a knife's edge constantly.
Yeah, 100%.
In addition to that as well, Josh, is that I feel like we need to give Brighton a little bit of credit just because I feel like they played. I personally think second half they played very, very well. They understood what Tottenham were doing wrong and they just capitalised on it.
They're a good side. They are a good side.
They're good. They're well managed. What's his name? Robert De Zerbi is a phenomenal manager. He's doing so well. Now, personally, something I want Tottenham to improve for next match. I want to see us utilise the wingers a bit more. I want to see, let's say Sonny is the winger, and let's say Kulu is the winger. I want to see them beat their man more often and take shots. I mean, I'm fed up with seeing passes like Brennan Johnson's goal. Fed up with that because it's not going to work every single time. You can say that we got lucky with that last goal because it was such a perfect play. You could say that, but I feel like at times we need to take the shots. Like Maddison needs to take a shot. Kulu needs to take a shot. Son needs to take a shot. But yeah, any last words from anyone before we end the show? No,
not necessarily. I mean, I'm just hopefully we get a statement next week. But I really would like a nice, comfortable statement. And it's a big game tonight, by the way. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Man United Villa game. That's a massive game for our season.
Yeah,
like massive. We need these points badly.
More importantly, I am hoping that West Ham have the game of their lives and win 2-0.
Yes.
But there's two big fixtures for us
today. Lego Head is unbearable. He is literally Mikel Arteta and Bruno Fernandes are the two people I hate the most. And Neil Maupay now as well, actually.
I think everyone hates Neil Maupay.
I've now added Neil Maupay because he's a bang average footballer and he never used to pipe up. But now he's got a couple of goals. He suddenly thinks he's Billy Big Bollocks. And he's like, I've had a couple of goals. Yeah, I'm going to wind people up. It's like, mate.
I just think this next few weeks, by the way, is massive for this top four race. Because we've got some really winnable games.
You're a striker. You're a striker and you're bragging about scoring more goals than a midfielder. Come on, mate.
Lads, well, that has been a Spurs Live. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Josh, Matt, it's been a pleasure having you guys on once again, and thank you so much for joining me. Obviously, co-host Josh and co-host Matt. What else we got? That's really it for today. I am actually missing the transfer news bit. Dino's daily transfer live streams, but we will be back now consistently Sunday, Thursdays for the match reaction, match previews. If you guys still want to see any guests, by the way, comment down below and we will get those guests on. Make sure to smash that subscribe button on the way out and drop a like if you are new to the channel. And that's really it.
If you ever invite Astrid Wet onto this channel, I will never podcast with you again.
Don't worry. She's not coming on anytime soon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been Spurs Live. Josh, Matt, thank you so much for joining. Have a good one. Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers, guys.